right, we are at the 15-minute mark and ready for our next session with Nicole. And Nicole is going to talk about creating a sales process that I feel like, you'll actually fall in love with and not feel like a slimy salesperson if that's you right now. Oh, hold on. Gonna ask to unmute.
Am I live?
There we go. We're live.
All right. Hi, Nick. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. How are you today? I know last week was a bit crazy for you.
Whew. Yeah. I feel like we've spoken twice via Zoom like this. The first time I had COVID and last time I had COVID. So bad.
I might be the bad luck, but they've been great conversations.
I think you might be the bad luck. So yeah, I got COVID and I got stuck in Florida during Hurricane Ian. So it was quite the week for me, but I'm back on my feet. So
back on your feet. You sound great. You sound great for someone that just got sick. And yeah, we're here to talk about, I know this is one of your favorite topics. So I love talking to people about their favorite topic they get passionate about.
Yeah, thank you. All right. Well, thanks guys for being here. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Nicole DeAndrea. I am a wellness enthusiast. I've been in this industry since I was 17 years old.
Oh, wow.
I own a small boutique yoga studio in Bergen County, New Jersey for the last 6 years called Blackbird Yoga Studio. And more recently, I'm a business consultant, just like everyone else you've heard from so far. I specialize in helping yoga and boutique fitness businesses build out their systems, refine their marketing, manage their staff, and ultimately grow and become more profitable so that their owners can do the work that they set out to do in the first place, which I'm sure for no one here was sales. I don't think anyone gets into this industry because they're like, you know what I love to do? Ask for money.
You could be a car salesman at that point.
That's exactly it. We're all heart-based entrepreneurs, but it's important. And
it's a huge component of the business.
It is, some might say, the lifeblood of the business.
Yeah.
It is the most important thing. But I think that there's a way to approach our clients in a unique way, because fitness clients are sort of a different animal that can be really effective and feel good to deliver. So that's my specialization as a consultant, is I love to help my clients create really education-based, client-centric sales processes that have very little to do with asking for money until the very end. And so that's what I'm going to teach you today, if you're ready for me to take it away.
Let's do it. Yeah, you could share your screen. I know you have a beautiful presentation. And
oh my God, I saw everyone else's and then I quick scrambled and made mine better. So all right. Can you see me here?
Yes, sales school for an abundant studio business.
Woohoo! All right. So I know I introduced myself, but just a quickie, who I am and why you might want to hear from me. I started my career in physical therapy. So I've always been in love with the body and helping people feel better in their bodies. Around the same time I was developing my career in the medical field, I quickly realized that while there is plenty of benefit to Western medicine, we really do neglect the role of the mind. And I fell in love with yoga. I wanted to approach my work from a more holistic place. So I became a yoga teacher and then got bit by the bug, as we all do. The rest, they say, is history. So I became a yoga teacher. I joke that I did the eat, pray, love thing for a little while. I quit my job and went to Bali and waited tables and lived out of my car and
did not know that.
Et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
I didn't actually live out of my car, but it felt like it when I was scrambling between, 14 different yoga studios every week. But I've taught all over New York and New Jersey. Finally, I settled on my own studio, Blackbird Yoga Studio, about 6 years ago. I'm a certified business consultant. And then more recently, I became a life coach. And the reason why was because I truly believe that an entrepreneur's mindset is everything. And there are so many mindset challenges that make it next to impossible to move forward in your business if you don't address them. One of them is totally relevant to what we're talking about today. It's asking for money
Yeah.
and, feeling empowered and in your own value and, charging your worth, which I think is a huge challenge in our industry. There are other things too, like visibility. Not everyone loves to put themselves out there. So I found, through my work that there was just such a need to address those pieces. So it's a little tool that I have in my toolbox when I need to use it. I'm also a mom. I'm really proud of that. It's a
Congrats.
new title for me. Yeah.
That is very exciting. I didn't know that. When did that happen?
Last December. So my son is 9 months old. And the reason that I share that, one, because it's the hardest thing I've ever done and everyone should know.
Yes, I could imagine.
Two, thank you. But two, my ideal clients are a version of myself, and as your ideal clients should be a version of yourself. And all of my clients share with me a deep desire for a life outside of their businesses, and the success that we create together is the means. It's just the means to live out a life that we all love. So that's why I share that little bit of information. But without further ado, I want to share some stats. I'm a nerd at heart and I love stats.
Yeah.
Are we okay? Everybody okay?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Cool. And it's about the state of the industry. So I find this so fascinating to really understand the motivators of a fitness studio client. We have to understand what motivates our clients if we want to effectively educate them and sell to them. And this is sort of a direct result of the pandemic, but pre-COVID, a fitness studio customer's main motivation for making a purchase was shockingly to look better, right? To become more fit, to look better. And since COVID, that has actually shifted to number 2 on the list, which is no small feat. Number 1 is that our customers want to feel better mentally and emotionally. I come from the yoga world, so we've all been banging that drum for years and years, but it doesn't matter what vertical you're in. Fitness studio customers come to us because they want to reduce stress, feel better emotionally, and we need to understand that when we're formulating our communication strategy with them. The reason that I say that yoga and fitness studio customers are so unique is that they're not necessarily coming to us for a transaction, right? Of course, there are some personality types that want that, but really the vast majority of our customers are seeking something. And what they're seeking is they want to be a part of something. They want
belonging.
Yes, that's a primal human need, a sense of belonging. And we tap into that really well for a lot of, if you think about it as an adult, how many places do you go that you have a tribe, right? Like,
yeah, I've heard people say we want this to be your second home, third home, whatever it is. We just want to be on your list of one of your homes.
That's right.
And it's like you said, it's a tribal, like primal instinct.
That's exactly it. Yeah, there's this great theory called the third space, if anyone's interested in looking into it, where you have 3 spaces, and the primary spaces where you spend your time, and the third one could be and should be your business. But adults don't have that many places to connect with one another.
Yeah.
And I think we really do need to leverage that to our advantage by building strategic opportunities to understand our clients, to connect with them, to understand what it is that motivates them, and to ultimately drive loyalty to our brand. So I think it's important that we understand that the motivation is not what it was 2.5 years ago. Just some other interesting stats. 51% of female fitness customers say that their mental health was negatively affected by the pandemic. Big shocker.
Yeah, I was going to say it's like only 51% admitted it.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
I don't know the difference between female and male, but I would say regardless of that stat, it's pretty close to 100. It's just who admit it.
Yeah, who's volunteering the information, right? And then 40% of customers say that their physical health was negatively affected by the pandemic. So not to say that we need to totally take that messaging off the table, but it's not quite as top of mind as mental health is right now.
It feels like the physical health is a byproduct of everything else.
That's right.
It's still going to be achieved, but I like this that the messaging from 2-3 years ago has changed from look better naked to feel better everywhere,
And I mean, I'm so I'm so proud of that, and I'm so happy for that, what in my opinion has always really mattered is now at the forefront of the conversation. Taking the eyes off of the the fitnessy, feel good in a bathing suit type of piece. That's really exciting, I think. So without further ado, why does it matter? Marketing versus sales. The vast majority of new clients that come to me think that they have a marketing problem. So if I had $1 for every time someone popped into my inbox and said, I just need more butts on mats, I would be a very rich woman, probably still in Bali doing yoga, and I would never work again. And while sometimes volume is the challenge, far more common, retention is the challenge, meaning that most studios have more than enough interest, but unfortunately, they're not converting that interest into sales, and they're not retaining their customers at the rate at which they need to. And so anytime I work with a business, I want to sharpen this process first. I want to make sure we know exactly what we're going to do with a client before we start attracting more of them, because I always liken that to having a big bucket with a hole at the bottom. If you're filling that bucket, you're spending money on advertising and you're generating leads, but you have no idea how you're going to communicate with them or sell to them, it's a massive waste of time and energy and money and effort. And so I really want you to think through, whoever is listening to this, your own business. Do you have a volume challenge, or is that what you need? Do you just need more bodies? Or do you have a retention challenge where you do not have a structured, consistently applied process for nurturing, building that relationship, and ultimately closing the sale on a predictable basis?
That is really interesting, because you think if 10 new people came into your studio a month, it seems like a low number to someone that's like, I got to grow. But it's like, what if those 10 people, what if 8 of them became members,
Yeah.
And it's like, then you're growing 8 members a month, and then you do that over a year, and that's 100 or 96 to be exact, but now it's 100. And it's like, now you outgrew your space. And
that's exactly it.
People are like, I need 30, 40, 50. And it's just like, I want to know what you can convert if I gave you 10 interested people a month.
That's exactly right. I'm such a fan of vetted, qualified leads that I know I can convert versus, casting the net super wide. And then frankly, in my own studio, I don't even have the space to do that. So I want to make sure that I know that those clients are going to become members with me. But yes, I think that for most of the studios that I work with, these numbers are relatively small. Like I would say on average, the businesses that I see are generating something like 30, 40 new student specials a month, new trial students. Yeah. And if you can convert half of them, that's 15 members a month. I mean, that's that means probably $1,500 to $2,000 more on your bottom line every single month. It's a huge deal.
And I don't want to derail you, but I'm just always curious too, when people want to get 100 leads a month, it's like, what do you think that does for your studio's culture if I'm a member that's been here for 6 months to a year, and I feel like every class there's more than half are new people that don't know the deal here? Like that's got to feel super off-putting to existing members, instead of just like every class there's 20% of it's new people. They get to really understand what your studio is all about, and then what we're here to talk about today, you're focusing on that 20% of class, making sure they stick around.
Yep, 1,000%. I think that very rarely are we talking about a volume game. And I've not seen a ton of studios succeed with that model anyway. So
right.
All right. So moving on, however, I will say this: if you, for whatever reason, are not on a recurring revenue membership model where 80% of your class transactions are coming from auto pays, I highly encourage you to adopt that model. And to be honest with you, not much of what I'm about to say is going to make sense if you're not attempting to drive your new customers toward auto pay memberships. I mean, if I could like stand on this chair and scream it from the rooftops, it's like the class package drop-in thing is broken. It doesn't work. And the best thing that you can possibly do for your business is create a pricing structure where membership is the easy yes, where there are maybe a couple of different options to fit into different lifestyles. Another stat that I find really interesting is that now post-COVID, most fitness customers have 2.5 boutique studio memberships. That's the number, right? So they're not.
So it should be easier to sell them on a membership. They're willing to buy it.
They're willing to buy it, yes, but they also are not necessarily spending all of their time with us. So the unlimited model, or the attempt to drive every single customer into an unlimited membership, might not make sense for every studio business anymore. So I'm a big fan of different levels for different lifestyles.
As a lifestyles, it's like, how many times a week do you actually see yourself coming here? Let's give you that membership. If even if it's once a week, it's like, all right, that's a once a week membership.
And
that's fine.
That's the average. So for a yoga studio, for a non-heated yoga studio, average attendance 4 times a month.
Wow.
For a fitness studio or a heated yoga studio, it's just slightly higher at 6 times a month. And so, you know, we always remember. What'd you say?
I was saying, so you're really selling once a week and twice a week memberships is probably going to be the majority of your auto pays.
That's exactly it. Yep. And we want to make sure, by the way, that, I mean, I could do this all day, but we want to make sure that the unlimited membership makes sense for that casual user, in that, you know, sometimes we do the math and it's like, I need to generate $35 a visit. That's nuts. Not when you multiply it by 4, right? And turn that into your membership price. And so anyway, I think most studio owners get really hung up on like the people who they see every day. Those are the ones we remember. It's like, oh, damn it, Steve comes twice a day. He comes like 60 times a month and he's paying 4 cents a class. But for every Steve, there's a Sally who's been like lovingly donating to the studio for the last 5 years and like never remembered to cancel her membership. So that average number is really, really important. But I'm going to kind of stray away from pricing and just say that while we know that recurring revenue is the single most effective tool for all small businesses for growth, and even large businesses, I mean, my God, what's not on a subscription? I think I have like my dog food and 6 Amazon Prime packages and like some makeup on my stoop right now. I
made an Instagram post a few weeks ago that you could put underwear on a subscription. Like,
I just saw that on Shark Tank. It's like sustainable, compostable underwear. You just get every 2 years. I was like, every 2 years? Is that how often people are replacing their underwear? I don't know.
Right. But yeah, to your point, not to derail you, but yeah, everything is a subscription nowadays.
Everything's a subscription. And, you know, there's a reason. It works. Yes. But even still, only on average, our industry is only turning 10% of its trial clients into members.
That is incredible.
And it's sad. Yeah. So without a process. And so how do we improve that number? This is my kind of high level thought about what a sales process should include. And only the end, the closing piece, is the part where we start talking about the money. There's a lot that needs to come before that. In order for us to, I like to say, earn the right to ask for the sale. One of my least favorite strategies is when a studio sends out an email that's like, hey, welcome to the studio. You take your first class. And then the second one is, did you know that you should buy a membership? And the third one is, just want to let you know you've got 2 weeks left to buy a membership. And then the fourth one is, just a reminder, I don't know if you knew, but it's time to buy a membership. And, you know, like, it's so sleazy, especially when your clients like haven't even gone on the second date with you yet. You know, you've got to kind of warm them up and teach them about who you are and try each other on for size. So we want to connect, we want to establish the relationship, and we want to make a really important, excellent first impression. Then we want to educate them on the solutions to their problems. That's what people buy. People buy solutions to their problems that are going to make sense for their lifestyle. We want to nurture that relationship and drive attendance. I mean, at the end of the day, really what's going to seal the deal is whether or not your clients are coming. So we want to continue to show up in front of them and nurture the relationship. And then close. We want to give them a reason to say yes. We want to give them a reason to say yes now. And we want to give them an offer that they can't refuse.
Yeah.
So what do those steps include? One of my favorite pieces of this process is what I call the intentional intake process, or the process of understanding your client's motivations right off the bat. And you didn't ask me to say this, but one of my favorite tools of life is Fit Degree. I love Fit Degree. Loop Spark. I love Loop Spark and the fact that it integrates with Fit Degree. And one of the things that I've been using in my own studio and with some of my clients is this new feature that they have where you can quiz and survey. And so we ask our new students about their motivations. What is it that you're looking for? We have some, multiple choice options. I'm looking for fitness. I'm looking for anxiety relief. I'm looking for beginners classes. And then we've got some open-ended questions that give our sales team some pieces of information to talk about. Yeah, it gives us ammo. But we want to know what's going to be the most effective form of marketing, right? So we ask right off the bat, what is it that brings you here? And then not only do we have the kind of manpower to reach out and circle back on that, but we also have automations built out that are unique to the client. So if they're brand new beginners, we're not going to show them a bunch of stuff about our advanced vinyasa classes, and vice versa. If they're interested in learning how to do a handstand, they're not going to get an email flow about yin yoga, right? So it's very personalized messaging based on what they tell us. And so I love that ability. And it really makes the communication feel personal. So we identify pain points and goals and interests, and we make notes on them. We build rapport. One thing I can't stress enough about sales is that you make or break that relationship very early on, and building rapport is so key. I mean, I know everyone hates small talk, especially if they're like yoga type people, but you got to do it. Small talk is so key to bringing down the walls, to removing fear, to establishing something in common. And you really want to train your staff, whoever's interfacing with your customers, to find some common ground and bring it up. Another thing I find really fascinating, because I've been in this world so long, sometimes it's easy to forget, but gym intimidation is so real, meaning that our customers are still intimidated by a fitness environment. They don't know what to expect. They feel like they need to lose weight before they show up in front of us, or they have to have the right clothes on, or whatever it is. And so anything we can do to alleviate that fear is really, really powerful in building a relationship. I also train my sales teams to ask open-ended questions, because I want to get the client talking. I want to know, not have you done some yoga before, but I want to know, what type of yoga have you done before? Or what's your favorite workout? Or tell me about your fitness goals, or whatever it is, because I want my team to have something to chew on, so that when we go reach out again, we've got something to say. So intentional intake, understanding the motivation. There are a million tools you can use to do it. It could be as simple as asking at your front desk and having someone write it down, or as sophisticated as deploying a survey tool and then, launching some automated marketing thereafter, or anything in between. But that's really important, as is creating safety. So you really want to have a consistent first visit experience anytime someone's in your studio, regardless of whether or not they purchase the intro offer. We want to give a tour. We want to introduce them to staff. We want to tap into that community need, introduce them to a couple of other students in class. Provide as much information as possible. Information creates safety. When I know what I'm getting myself into, when I know where to leave my shoes and park my car, and if I need a mat, that makes me feel more relaxed. And when I'm relaxed, I'm a lot more likely to purchase something.
Yes.
We create welcome packages. This is sometimes I can be like a little bit old school in terms of my sales approach, but I think old school stands out right now. And so in my own business, whenever we get a new student, they get a literal welcome gift that has some promotions for our studio. It's got a personalized schedule. So here are the classes that we think are right for you. We've got a swag bag right now. So we want to bring down those walls as quickly as possible and create the best first impression. That's the connection piece. All right, then we want to educate. And so I alluded to this earlier, but people buy solutions to their problems. And I know that sometimes in our world, classifying our clients' motivators as problems might feel a little weird, but I want you to, if you are feeling that way, I want you to kind of reframe problem. A problem could be, a big expensive problem like the ones we solve. I'm feeling particularly anxious right now, or my business is really struggling. Those are typically expensive problems. Or there could be a really like low-key problem, like there's crayon on my sofa, but even still, I'm going to act on making a purchase when there's something at top of mind for me, right? And I think it's our job to discover what that is. So again, we want to ask those open-ended questions, but then we want to educate the customer on how our unique suite of services is going to solve that problem. So for example, I think these classes would be great for you, or I think that, oh, you're feeling particularly tense in your shoulders. We've got an awesome massage therapist here on Thursday nights. Or I don't know, what's another good example? You're looking to sweat. We've got advanced class on Fridays. Let me get you signed up. Can I get you signed up for your next class? We want to let them know, want to match them with the right solution.
Yes.
How long will it take? We are not the business of a quick fix. We want loyalty, and we want to explain to them that, look, it might take a couple of classes, or it might take, trying on a couple of different teachers for size before you find the right solution for you. So stick with it. I recommend, conveniently, I recommend 2 or 3 times a week to start. How long will it take to see progress? So progress and results drive retention. Yes. Those results don't need to be, I lost 100 pounds, but it could be. But those results might be, I finally can touch my toes, or I finally can take a deep breath, or I finally can pick up my grandson and, play with them the way that I want to, or whatever it is. Those are the things that we want to highlight, because that's what's going to keep people coming. We also want to educate, of course, on the best pricing option. People buy based on really one of 2 things, brand and price. I am definitely in the business of teaching people to sell based on their brand. I'm not a, price it as low as possible and cast the net as wide as you can type person. I'm a let's price you where you need to be and then explain why you're worth that type of person. So we want to educate them on the best possible price, right? Of course, in the beginning of the relationship, that should be your intro offer. If that's not the best possible price, then please call me and I'll help you out for free. But the intro offer should be such an easy yes that it's really a no-brainer. I mean, it's very unusual for someone to start a fitness or wellness endeavor and say, I'm going to do this one time, right? Unless they're, truly visiting from out of town. So it should be very easy to sell your intro offer in every way, in terms of the benefits to their, the way it's going to solve their problem and the price itself. So we want to educate them on their best option. We want to make sure the intro is an easy yes. The phrase that pays, I call it, is always when the intro offer is less than the price of 2 or 3 drop-in classes, so that you can say, hey, even if you come back 2 or 3 more times, this is your absolute best deal. So we really want to make sure that everyone in your business who functions at your front desk is selling that intro offer 80% of the time if you're in a small town, 60% of the time if you're in a big city with a little bit more transience. But if we don't get them in the intro offer, we've got no prayer of selling them anything else. So that's really, really critically important. My staff is really amazing at this now, but back in the day, I used to call them whenever a single class was sold on first visit and be like, hey, what happened? So they got that message really, really, really quickly. All right, how are we doing on time?
We got about 15 minutes till the end of the session. Yeah, not good. We are a little behind, but let's just keep rolling.
Okay. Do we have questions or should I keep going?
We don't have any questions yet. I think people are absorbing. So I would say go for another 10 minutes and then we'll go from there.
I can do a lot in 10 minutes. Okay. So we've connected, we've educated, we're going to nurture. And I will breeze through these, but I'm sure that many of you have heard this before. We want to touch base with our trial clients multiple different ways because everyone absorbs information differently. Everyone prefers a different form of communication. And frankly, our customers need to hear our message quite a few times before it even lands. I mean, we're so inundated with information all day, every day, that something needs to be repeated before it actually finds its way into your psyche. So I think there's something like, you've got to hear it 8 times before you even, before business is even on your radar. And so we want to touch base in a bunch of different ways. We want a text message. I do phone calls and text messages at my studio. Most of my clients do both. I think a phone call really stands out now, but the truth is that not everyone answers the phone in 2022. So texting is a really great follow-up. But it's important because it has a 99% open rate. So even the best emails have something like a 30% open rate. Your first one might perform a little bit better than that, but text messages are typically the way to go. I mean, the people are texting, it just is what it is. And so we want to text after their first visit to establish a good relationship, gather feedback, make sure they were taking the right class, touch back on that intentional intake process. We want to text midway through the intro cycle if they're not coming. Just, oh, there's a typo there, and now I can't unsee it. But we want to encourage people to come, right? So it's like, hey, you've got 2 weeks left on your trial. Can I get you booked into your next class? We want to text to upsell, of course. We want to text and say, hey, your trial's about to expire. We've got this great offer. Should you decide to become a member with us, it's available till Tuesday. Can I get you signed up? We want to email. So 4, 6, even 8 emails over the course of a 3 or 4 week trial is totally appropriate. I think that email is so key because it's the medium through which we can actually tell a story about our brand. You can't send someone a text message with your life story about why fitness changed your life, but you can send an email about it.
Yes.
So email is a great way to build buy-in to your brand. And it's a great reason to show up in your customer's inbox multiple times over the course of their trial so that they say, you know what, I should actually use that thing. So email is really important. We want the in-class experience to be part of the sales process. I can't stress that enough, but it's the most important thing. And I think sometimes as entrepreneurs, we can get really hung up on the marketing and the sales and the strategy and the advertising and forget that the class itself is actually the most important component. And so your teachers should be on board with your sales process. They should be giving extra one-on-one attention to your new students. They should be calling out results and high-fiving and whatever it is to make that initial experience the best that it can possibly be. And then, of course, your front desk staff. I'm such a proponent of paid, well-trained, sales-focused front desk staff for businesses of every size. If you're like, I can't afford it, yes, you can. You can't afford not to have someone who's trained in sales at your front desk. It is truly make or break. If I had to choose one thing, it would be having a front desk staff. I'd never send an email ever again if I had to make that choice, right? So
I like that. Yeah.
People buy from people.
Yes.
People buy from people. And so you want to make sure your staff knows about that upsell process. We want to make sure that they are checking in with the client on their goals, that they're skilled at building rapport, that the people that you hire, their primary responsibility is closing sales. And then they can clean the studio and, buy more toilet paper and, whatever else. But that is so critical to, I think, a brick and mortar success. And then we want to close, right? We want to close the membership deal. Checking on my time, 5 minutes. We want to make a personalized recommendation. So we want to watch how our clients use the intro period and say, look, Sally, you've come 97 times this month, and unlimited membership is such a no-brainer. Yes. And by the way, we offer a discount if you sign on before Tuesday. Let's get you signed up. Or, hey, Sally's my hypothetical person. It's always hey, Sally, you've come 4 times. I get it. We've got a once-a-week membership. I think it's just the right fit for you. Let's get you signed up. So we want to make the right recommendation. I incentivize my desk staff to make membership sales, and it's the same commission regardless of which level of membership they sell, because I want them selling the right thing, not trying to get everyone into the big thing. Perks are great. Perks are great motivators for membership. Maybe there's like a time-sensitive discount if they sign on right away. Maybe they get, I don't know, a half-price massage if they sign on right away. Maybe they get mat storage, or pick a spot, or whatever you want to do for your members. Anything you can include as a perk in that conversation, always a good thing. Also, for the sales conversation, one thing I find really interesting that I think everyone should know is that usually the barrier to a membership sale is the feeling of being locked into something and not necessarily the price. And so I always kind of bristle when I see a studio with like a 1-year commitment or something like that.
Right.
I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow, let alone what I'm doing in a year, right?
And I feel the same way about our software. Is like you should earn it every month. You know, so I not to interrupt you, but I'm very passionate about that. Like, commitment is a huge fear of people, and why am I signing up for even a 3-month commitment? It's like I should want to come here in 3 months. Like, why are you trying to lock me into something?
And the truth is, when it's time for them to go, it's time for them to go. And making it hard for people to cancel is probably one of the worst things that you can do for your business's reputation. I remember I was a loving donator to New York Sports Club for like 8 years before I finally canceled my membership. And then I did, and they were like, you've got to send a letter in the mail. I was like, are you want me to send you a letter? And this was old school, not that long ago. I'm like, I will never do business with you ever again, just on the sheer principle of not wanting to write you a letter and put a stamp. I mean, it was crazy.
I feel like commercial gyms could write a book on how to make it difficult for people to cancel.
Oh my God, yes. It's and it's just a sour taste. When it's time to let them go, let them go. I've been advising my clients to have no membership commitment for a very long time, for many years. And I've got plenty of data to support that just because they can cancel their membership doesn't mean they do. The lifetime value of a client remains the same at about 8 months. However, the closing rate goes way up when you remove that barrier. So I love what you said, and earn the business every month. Not to say sell to them every month. It should be an auto pay, right? But
don't take that too far. But
please don't make it hard for the people to cancel. All right, I'm gonna breeze through. When clients don't convert, that's not the end of the line. There's 20% of your customers will not want to be auto pay members. We still want an option for them. So you can incentivize a package purchase. Hey, we get it. Your trial expired yesterday. Membership's not for everyone. Here's 20% off a 10-pack if you buy it today. We have great success with that at our studio, where we try to move them into a package at that point. We also want to solicit feedback from our clients who don't convert. That's really valuable insight. If anything is coming up as a trend repeatedly, for example, all of your trials that you approach for a membership are saying, I don't want to be locked into something, something's got to change in your messaging. So we really want to listen. I mean, the feedback from people who love you is important, but the feedback from people who are not buying from you is arguably even more important. So we want a process for gathering that. And then, of course, we want everyone on a win-back list. And so your greatest asset in your business is probably your list of lapsed customers or prospective customers that never kind of move the needle with you. It's a lot cheaper to communicate with those people. So we want to reach back out every couple of weeks to try to bring them back into the fold with an offer that feels really good. So thanks. I'm out of breath.
I'll give you a break for 1 second before we wrap up, and then how people can reach out to continue the conversation with you. I think, I want in each of these sessions, I want everyone to take away just one thing that they feel like they can implement tomorrow. For all of that you talked about, it sounded like it in the moment. I'm curious by the end of it, if you still feel this way, of the intentional intake piece and literally an intake form. And I think, I always say that whenever I can on a demo of like, you need to have an intake form, it's your ammo to sell back to the client. But one thing that helped me in my sales process, and that you mentioned that I did not ever think of, is having the open-ended questions. Because most people think sales is like this used car salesman that just keeps talking and dropping these benefits, and eventually it's going to get you to say yes. And when you switch sales to becoming more of a ask questions and they should talk 80% of the conversation, and then you're just there to say, I've been actively listening. I noticed you said this one thing. This is where I think we can help you. And they're like, yeah, I told you that was one of my problems. So now you're solving one of the problems I share. I just thought I was so great. Like, I love the intentional intake to get that mindset. I love the physical intake form. What stuck out to me was that having open-ended questions, like get them to tell you what's going to get them to buy from you.
Yeah. And then repeat it back in their language.
Yes.
So that's really important, especially for you, right? Like software language is a thing. Yoga language is a thing.
How do they say it though?
How do they say it, and then use their words right back at them? So powerful.
Yeah, I love that. All right, well, that was amazing. We are running up on time.
Okay.
Yeah, how do people keep the conversation going with you?
Cool. So the main place that I hang out online is in my Facebook group. It's called the Profitable Studio Community. Totally free and private, specifically for studio owners. We vet it. Lots of good conversation in there about new things and old things and cool things in our industry. So that's my main hangout. I also, of course, do a free 60-minute studio strategy session for anyone who's interested in learning more about the different ways that we can work together. I've got a bunch from all levels of quick fix to ongoing consulting. And if you want to learn more about me, it's NicoleDeandriaConsulting.com.
Perfect. So we will have this recording up. Once we get that page up, we'll have all of the links to get into your Facebook group, go to your website, and schedule that strategy call.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Nicole. All right.
Bye.
Bye.